Chapter 7: Getting to know plants. Let's begin. We see a variety of plants around us. Plants are extremely important to life on the earth. Life is impossible without plants. Plants can be seen growing at home, school, playground, garden, parks, orchards, crop fields, farmhouses, roadsides, and many other places. They grow on mountains, in valleys, in deserts, in fresh and salt water, almost everywhere on the planet. Plants provide food, medicine, shelter, and the oxygen we need to breathe. In fact, everything we eat comes directly or indirectly from plants. Herbivores, plant eaters, and omnivores, animal and plant eaters, depend on plants for survival. Even carnivores, meat eaters, depend on plants because they often prey on animals that eat plants. Plants also provide shelter and habitats for many animals. Plants are of different shapes, sizes, and characteristics. Some plants grow very big and have hard and woody stems. Some plants grow smaller than you. They have soft or hard stems. Have you ever visited a park or orchard? Have you ever observed the plants carefully? Classification of plants on the basis of size. Depending on the features of plants, plants are classified into three categories: herbs, shrubs, and trees. Herbs. Plants with green and tender stems are called herbs. They are usually short and may not have many branches. Herbs have short lifespan. Coriander, spinach, and mint are some examples of herbs. Shrubs. Some plants have many branches and grow near to ground. The stem is hard but not very thick. Such plants are called shrubs. Rose, jasmine, tulsi, and lemon are examples of shrubs. Trees. Trees are tall and big plants with a main thick and woody stem called trunk. The stem has branches in the upper part, much above the ground. The lifespan of trees is very long. Neem, mango, and coconut plants are examples of trees. Creepers. Some plants do not have a strong stem and cannot stand erect. These grow along the ground. They are called creepers, for example, pumpkin, watermelon. Climbers. Some take the support of other plants or objects and climb on them. They are called climbers, for example, grapevine, money plant. Parts of a plant. Look at the picture shown here. A plant can be divided into two major systems: the root system and the shoot system. The part of the plant above the ground is called the shoot system. It bears branches, leaves, flowers, fruits, etc. The part of the plant below the ground is called the root system. It consists of roots. Stem. The stem is an aerial and erect part of plant body which grows upwards. It is usually above the soil and develops from plumule of the embryo. It consists of branches, leaves, flowers, fruits, and seeds. The stem of a tree is called the trunk. The trunk in most trees is covered with an outer covering called bark. The bark protects the inner part of the trunk. Functions of the stem. The three main functions of stems are: transportation. It carries food and water to the leaves and flowers of the plant. Stems bear branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. Support. It gives the plant support to stand holding up the leaves, buds, and flowers. Food manufacturing. Photosynthesis can occur in the stem of some plants such as cacti, celery, asparagus, and bananas. Modification of stem. Pollination. Certain underground stems like potato, garlic, and ginger help the plant to tide over unfavorable climatic conditions. This is called pollination. Climbing. In weak plants like the bitter gourd, the stem gets modified to form tendrils which help the climbers in climbing. Food storage. The stem also functions as a storehouse of food material, as in the case of potato, onion, garlic and ginger. Leaves. The leaf is a flattened, thin, green, lateral structure borne on the stem. A leaf is borne on the stem at a node. It usually has a stalk called petiole and a pair of very small leaves at the base of the petiole called the stipules. The stipules protect the young leaf. The broad expanded green part of the leaf is called leaf blade or lamina. It has a thick midrib in the center. On either side of the midrib, thin veins branch out. These veins in turn divide and subdivide to form a fine network of veinlets which keep the leaf in expanded form. The veins are actually the transporting vessels for food and water. The arrangement of veins in a leaf is called as leaf venation. Based on venation, leaves can be classified into leaves with reticulate venation and leaves with parallel venation. If the design of the veins forms a net-like structure on both sides of the midrib, the venation is called reticulate venation. If the veins are parallel to each other, it is termed as parallel venation. Dicotyledonous plants possess leaves with reticulate venation. Monocotyledonous plants possess leaves with parallel venation. If a plant has taproot, its leaves will show reticulate venation, but if the root is fibrous, it will show parallel venation in its leaves. Functions of leaves. Photosynthesis. Leaves are called the food factories of the plant. It is where food is actually prepared for the entire plant. Leaves have a green-colored pigment called chlorophyll, which is necessary for any plant to make its food. Chlorophyll captures light energy and uses it to convert water and carbon dioxide into plant food and oxygen. This process is called photosynthesis. This food is then supplied to all parts of the plant through the stem. Carbon dioxide plus water, sunlight, chlorophyll, starch plus oxygen. Modifications of leaves. Like roots and stems, modifications are seen in leaves also. There are mainly three types of leaf modifications. Leaf tendrils. In some plants, leaves or leaflets are modified into tendrils. These help plants with weak stem to climb a support to expose their leaves to sunlight. In the sweet pea plant, the terminal leaflets are modified into tendrils. Spines. In plants such as cactus, which grow in deserts, the leaves are modified to spines to reduce water loss. They also protect the plants from grazing animals. Reproductive leaves. In some plants such as bryophyllum, leaves produce tiny but complete plantlets along their margins. Each plantlet, when separated from the leaf, is capable of growing independently into a full-sized new plant. Transpiration. Plants lose a large volume of water through the leaves in the form of vapor through the stomata and the cuticle. It is known as stomata transpiration and cuticle transpiration. It is estimated that the loss of water via stomata through the process of transpiration exceeds 90% of the water absorbed by the roots. Gaseous exchange. Gas exchange is a process in leaves where water vapor and oxygen leave and carbon dioxide enters the plant leaves. The gases move into and out of the plants through stomata. Each stoma or stomate is surrounded by two specialized structures called guard cells. These two cells are attached together at each end of both cells. Food storage. The leaves serve as food storage organ of the plant both temporarily and on long-term basis. During the daytime, sugars accumulate in the leaves and starch is synthesized and stored as food. The flower. Flowers are the reproductive part of plants. They often have colorful petals and fragrances to attract pollinators such as birds, bees and other insects. The unopened young flower is termed as a bud. The flower is borne on a stalk called pedicel. The uppermost end of the pedicel is somewhat swollen. This swollen part of the pedicel is known as the thalamus. It bears all the four whorls of a flower. These four whorls are sepal, petals, stamens, pistil. Let us know more about these parts. Sepal, the first outermost whorl of a flower, consists of leaf-like structures called sepals. Sepals are generally green in color and manufacture food and supply it to other floral parts. They also protect the new delicate inner parts of the flower during the budding stage. Petals, it is the second whorl of the flower. They are modified leaves that surround the reproductive parts of the flower. They are often of bright colors due to presence of pigments, sweet smell and nectar to attract insects for pollination. Stamens, it is the third whorl, which is composed of one or more male reproductive organs called stamens. Each stamen consists of a thin stalk or filament and a two-lobed head called the anther. The anther and the filament are connected by a connective tissue. Stamen is also known as the male part of the flower. Anther contains fine duet-like particles, pollen grains. Pistil, it is the fourth whorl. It consists of a long thin filament called style which flattens at its tip to form the stigma and a swollen part at the base which is known as ovary. Pistil is known as the female part of the flower. Function of a flower. Flower is the reproductive part of the plant. The typical flowers have male and female reproductive organs. When the pollen grains transfer from the stamens to the stigma, this process is known as pollination. The root system. The root and its branches make up the root system of a plant. The root is the underground, non-green part of the plant. It generally grows from the radicle of the embryo of a seed. It grows into the soil, away from sunlight. A typical root consists of primary roots, secondary roots, tertiary roots, root caps, and roots hair. The primary root gets divided into branches, which are known as secondary roots. The branches of secondary roots are called tertiary roots. The tip of each root is protected by a root cap. Every root has a cluster of very fine thread-like root hairs for absorbing water and mineral salts from the soil. Types of root system. There are two types of root system, taproot and fibrous root system. Taproot system. It consists of a single main primary root with lateral branches arising from it. The primary root is longer than its branches and grows vertically downward in the soil. It is found in most of the dicot plants like castor, pea, mango, gram and bean. Fibrous root system. In the fibrous root, the primary root is short-lived and is replaced by a cluster of thin fiber-like roots after some time. These are called fibrous roots. These roots spread from a common point and are about the same size. They spread out into the soil and give a firm support to the plant. They are found in most of the monocot plants like maize, rice, barley, and grasses. Modifications of roots. Roots may show modifications in their shape, size, structure, and functions to adapt to various conditions. In this unit, you will study about 3 types of root modifications: storage roots, supporting roots, and nodulated roots. Storage roots. The taproots of plants such as carrot, turnip, potato, and radish are swollen and fleshy as they store food. The plant uses this food when required. We also eat some of these roots. Supporting roots. Maize and sugarcane are tall plants. Do you think that fibrous roots are enough to hold them firmly? Do they have any other type of roots? Yes, they do. In these plants, roots develop from the lower nodes of the stem. They grow downward and help to fix the plant firmly in the soil. Such roots are called stilt roots. In some plants such as the banyan tree and the Indian rubber plant, roots arise from the horizontal branches of the stem and grow towards the soil. On touching the soil, they penetrate into it and act as pillars. These pillar-like roots are called prop roots. They support the heavy branches of the tree. Nodulated roots. Pea, bean, groundnut, moong, urad and gram are a few examples of plants that possess nodulated roots. These plants are called leguminous plants. Functions of the roots. Support. Roots anchor the plants in the soil. They hold the plant tightly firm to the ground. When wind blows, you can clearly observe how the upper part of the plant sways, but still stays firm at its base. This is because it is held at a place with its roots. Transportation. Roots absorb water and nutrients from the soil. They then transport these up to the stem. The stem then transports these nutrients to all other parts of the plant.